Hi, my name's Matt Cyrus, and in this video we're going to look at Quixel Suite. We're going to look at how to create all this detail for the motion tracker, and then I'm also going to show you how to bake out an AO for this. So let's get started. Okay, before we get started, I'm just going to show you this. So this is the UVs we baked out. Now, they might look a little bit different to the ones that you've got, is just because this is laid out a little bit differently. That's fine. They're all the same size in terms of the textile density and that sort of stuff. So what I tend to do is I always have this on a screen layer inside of Photoshop, so just like that. Now, if you're a patron supporter, you've already got this file, so you can have a look at the different layers and the AO layer and that sort of stuff that I baked for this. But normally, yeah, I would have this on screen, and normally I wouldn't have any of this already in, but for this demonstration purpose I have. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use Quixel Suite. Now, if you haven't used Quixel Suite before, I have got a tutorial on it, which will follow at the end of this video, which you'll be able to link to and find out how to use it. If not, if you have used it, then we can get straight into this. So, as you can see here, if I just turn off the wireframe, you can see that I've got all this detail here. Let me just deselect that by pressing Control D. So I want to start to build this. So let's start with something like this. So what I did was, let me turn all this off. Oh, hello, there we go, the grill. I'm just gonna make sure I've got a new layer. And this is the best thing, when you create a new, either you create a new folder structure or a new file inside of this folder structure, make sure you create a new layer. Because what you don't want to do is, for example, click the undo button and it completely replace everything inside your PSD. That's not what we want. So you need to make sure that you use a new layer. Sorry, I'm a bit bunged up today because of hay fever, so I do apologise. And what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to do this. So grab the marquee tool here and just create a marquee. And then I'm going to click this button here. And there we go. And I can change the size of it. I can change whether it's down or up. I can change the sort of bevel, so it's maybe an outer bevel. Maybe let's turn this off so you can see it. So there you go. Now the next thing I'm going to do is the little grills. So I'm just going to create a thingy. Oh, hay fever. Click down. Change the size of this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to merge that group there. Okay? And then what I'm going to do, don't do that. Now, one of the things, I don't know why it keeps doing this, but every time, maybe because it keeps forgetting my preferences, is that it selects auto select, which means it selects everything, which is not what you want, as we just saw there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Alt, hold Alt to make a copy, and hold Shift to keep it in line. One of the great things about the new Photoshops is, and when I first started using Photoshop, this wasn't in, was the snap. It tells me how many pixels. This is brilliant for creating normal maps or anything that's repeating, because it's like, okay, I've got it exactly the distances I want it. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to combine these, so merge the layers. I'm just going to move them slightly down. So I've got my grill. Now I want to create a more interesting shape, so I'm just going to grab the polygon lasso tool. I'm going to hold Shift. Okay. Now, one thing I am going to do is I'm just going to merge these layers down, and I'm going to put them in a group and call them grill. Okay. Then I'm going to create this new normal map here. Okay, if I do it on top of the layer, it will delete it. So it needs to be either in a group folder, named something. It can't be in a duplicate, so if I was to try and do it on that, it would screw up. Or it needs to be on a new layer, so Control-Shift-N for a new layer. I'm just going to resize this and bring it down a bit. I'm also going to make this slightly bigger. let me turn this off. Oh. Let's not do that. Let's move that out of the way. Come on. There you go. Now, if I just merge this, so I've got it, and let's put it in the grill. If I copy this and press Control T and flip it horizontally, the other thing I need to do is I'll zoom in really close. There you go. I can flip the green channel in this as well. Nope, that's not right. Ignore that. Okay, there we go. So we've got our grill, and that's just a couple of simple steps to do that. So I've got my grill now. So let's have a look. Okay, mine's a little bit more pattern wise, but it works. Okay. Let's have a look. Main controls. Main console. Let's have a look at the panel arm. So this is a bit more interesting. So I'm going to do this. Okay. So again, I'm just going to create a new layer. Grab the marquee tool. Now, for this demonstration, it's going to be easy for me because all I'm doing is just replicating the shapes that were already there. Originally, I had to come up with these patterns, so I looked on the internet for these types of patterns. I looked on like sci-fi floors, sci-fi paneling. One thing I would say is just make sure it makes sense. So like bolts aren't all over the place just because the thingy. So like this would be removed, so it would need bolts there to secure them. Okay, right. So I've got my thingy, and I'm just gonna hit the down. Probably going to be about 4, yeah. So I just changed the opacity there just so I could see it. Okay. Now I'm just going to hide this a minute. I'm just going to create this. No, not that. Now you could just create a mask and then use a selection on it, or if you got an image from the internet, you can do that as well, like stencil around it. Okay, I am gonna hold Alt just to straighten this up a little bit, yeah. So that deselects, Alt deselects, Control adds, no, Shift adds, Alt deselects. Gives you the deselection. If you want to completely deselect, Control D will do that. So let's just put this back in and click Enter. Well, click the button here. Okay, it's a bit too, maybe 2 or a 4. 2 will work. Okay. And if we just hide these a minute, yep. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to make this pattern. Now, and I can use a mixture, and I'm holding Shift to do this. And it's just making that kind of interesting pattern. I'm holding Shift. That's adding to the selection. Okay, once I'm happy, I'm just going to hit the Then this is going to go down. Okay, and then I'm just going to create these kind of like bolt looking things. So let's grab the marquee tool for the circle, and we're just going to, maybe not that, I'm going to put groove. Okay, so if we, not roughly the same, but we're going to keep it at that, as simple for that. And then what I'm going to do is just going to make these slightly smaller, because at the moment they're quite big. Again, shrink them down a little bit. There we go. Okay, so I've got these, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to merge it, because trying to copy all that group is going to slow your Photoshop down. I'm just going to place them where I think you would find this kind of bolt detail. Okay, merge that group. And the thing is now I can actually merge this group, merge layers, and then Control G to group it, and call this arm pattern. Okay. Next one I'm going to do is this grill here. So if I grab the marquee tool. Come on, no. It's very fiddly sometimes. Okay, make sure that's closed, and then I can do this. And it will create me a new one. And I can go, okay, let's use the groove. Let's bring the size down slightly, yep. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is just create this like grill. So I'm just going to use a circle, like so. And then I'm going to grab this tool here. Okay. Now, before I do this, I am just going to fill this. So I'm going to create a new layer. Hit the mask. Hit the Alt backspace to fill it. And then what I'm going to do is just copy it. Control T to flip it. No, why did I do that? Horizontally, yep. And then just line it up. And there you go. I've got my mask. Okay. So if I select this now and go back here and click here, and then I can just go down, and there you go. Again, because I'm duplicating a lot of them, I'm going to merge the group. Okay. Now I could be here all day duplicating this, so I tend to get the first few in place like that, and then so I've got that merge, and then the one that I want to get rid of like that, just delete it. And then maybe bring this slightly down so it's even on either side. There you go. And I've got my other bit. So I'm going to create the rest, okay, but I'm going to speed it up. Welcome back. So what I've got so far done is the grill, the arm pattern here. Next we're going to look at these bits here and how I did them. So I'm just going to grab the elliptical marquee tool. I'm just going to drag a circle around roughly the size. That's not roughly the size. Let's try that again, shall we? Yeah, that's roughly the size. And if we grab this as well so we can see it, I'm just going to expand it. So if I go image, select, modify, expand. I can expand this by so many pixels, so I'm going to expand it by 4. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a new layer here using this. Okay. Turn this off. There we go. And I'm going to change this to groove. I think that's roughly about right. Maybe move it slightly. Yeah, roughly about. And then what I'm going to do is just minimize this, and I'm going to create an inside loop. Okay. Click OK. And what that's going to do is, let's just bring this down. Let's make it bigger. And there we go. And what I can do is that I can just even that up. If I can combine these together now, merge layers, and I'm just going to Alt, drag, and there we go. And that's what you probably saw on here. But the difference with this one down here a minute ago was that I also then went into the green channel, pressed Control-I to flip it. Okay, so that's what I was doing with this. Okay. Bolts. Get rid of this. This one. This can go. This can go as well. Okay, so the next thing is we're going to work on the main console bits. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this. And down, bring it to about 1. There you go. And again, I'm just going to merge the group. And whenever I'm duplicating stuff, I always merge the group, because trying to merge it as a folder, it just starts to get compact and slow and that sort of stuff. And I'm just going to call this... Oh, no. Let me copy this one down as well. There you go. Merge these. And I'm going to group this, Control-G, and call this main. I'm just going to call it main. So I don't normally name my layers, but I always put them in groups so I know what's what. And now one thing you can do is if you press Control, left click, that will select that layer. Yeah, which is pretty cool. Okay, what else is there? So I can get rid of that now. Power. Let's do this one. It's a little bit different, so this is going to be quite easy to do. Just draw a square out. Make sure it's grooved. Same with this. Square. Maybe not as prominent. There you go. Now for this though, this is going to be a little bit different. So what we're going to need to do is, we're just going to have to cut this out. So let's bring this down. Okay. And then I'm going to grab that, create that.
I'm just going to soften it. And then what I'm going to do is just merge this group and just cut the ends off. The reason for this is that I don't want that kind of lip. And then I'm just going to transform it and get it to the edge. Now the problem is it's over the top. So what we need to do is, we need to find this, merge it, grab the magic wand by pressing W, and just selecting the inside. And there we go. So what we can do is, if I just hide that, we can now grab this layer and put it underneath this bit, and you can see now and again and again, because this is going to be a lot, and again, merging. I'm holding Alt to drag it. Probably one more of these. So merge all of these, and then what I'm going to do is just delete there and slightly bring this slightly down so there's an equal gap. Okay, so merge that, merge all that, and name this power. Okay, so we're nearly there actually. So we've got a few screws, I think. Nope. Not that I can see. Grill. No, we've done the grill. I think that's it. We can do text. Let's see what the text says. Crave power. Oh, I think that was for the thingy. So you can do text, and I'll show you this now. I won't do this one, but what is it with the new Photoshop text that it always comes with text? Let's pat on. No. Let's just go Myriad. Well, let's make it slightly bigger so we can see it. Hello. Thinking, what? So we can see it. Okay, and then what we're going to do is Control left click, and then notice how I went on the power. We've now got text, and we can use text and create a normal map out of it. Good for logo design. I use this a lot for logo design, and I tend to use the outer for that so that we can see it. There you go. And there, and we could even have it going down as well, and then we could do an inside bit as well to have it so it pops like this, or you could have it just as the groove like that. It's entirely up to you, but there we go. And you can use whatever font to create this. Okay, I think that's it. So I'm happy with this now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save it as a normal map. So a target. Okay. Now I've already got him here, but I'm just going to save him here so it doesn't confuse us. So make sure it's a target, and I'm going to save it as a 24-bit. The only reason why we'd use 32-bit is if we wanted an alpha channel. So click OK. And then what I'm going to do is just open up that file, and I'm going to create an AO from it. So if we grab the map converter, and it will come up with this window here, and I'm going to press Control left click because I want an AO and a diffuse. And I think diffuse, it's a cavity that we're going to bake. Just going to let it do its thing. Don't worry, this is normal. It does look like it's freaking out, but it's fine. Hopefully my scratch discs are alright, because if you find that it won't bake, it normally is because your scratch discs are full. So for example, I've had to move my scratch discs, and I'll show you that in a minute when I get Photoshop back, how to do that, to a different drive where I've got more how can I say it, more memory. Okay, it's taking a little bit of time. Maybe it's because I'm recording as well. But we should be all right. There we go. Okay, so this is our this is a diffuse. Now we want to get rid of the AO depth because we've already got AO, and if I bring the volume slightly down, we're going to get rid of that as well because we want this kind of cavity. Okay, and what I can do is merge this group together. Control A, Control C. Now with the AO, we want to just tone this slightly down a bit because it is a bit extreme. Okay, and then what we want to do is merge the groups. Control V, that's going to thingy. Now, I'm just going to show you how you can write a little action so you can record this so that you only have to hit one button every time you do this. So if we just go into View, Actions. Now I think I've already got one. No, I haven't because I updated, so I'm just going to create a new action. And what actions do is it allows you to basically record what you're doing inside of Photoshop, so you could create hotkeys that allow functions to be quicker. So for example, you could create one of these for if you needed to down-res a whole texture folder. You could do that and run an automated batch inside of Photoshop on that, so you wouldn't have to do it individually. So I'm going to call this AO. I'm going to create a function key. I'm going to say Shift F2. I'm going to give it a red color. Doesn't matter really. And we hit record. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this. So firstly we need to create a brightness contrast layer, and if we hold Alt we can attach it to the layer below, so it won't affect this layer, it'll just affect this layer. I'm going to change that to 100. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click multiply so it's over the top, and then we're going to do a filter. We're going to go into filter gallery. And we're going to select paint dubs and we're going to soften this. We can do it all the way. That's okay. So okay. Final thing, select all the layers, Control G, group it, AO. Now if I press stop, we've now got this, and everything that we've done is recorded, and I'll show you that in action in a minute. But I'm going to duplicate this, so duplicate the group and back into the PSD, and there we go. So we now have the AO from the high poly, from the normal map. Okay, we will need to put another AO in there and blend it once we get it from Substance Painter. But that's how you can create a AO from a normal map. It's quite a quick way. And we also did actions there as well. So if I just I don't know. Okay. So if I now go Shift F2, it automatically runs it for me and it's done. So I don't have to do anything. So it's a really quick way of doing it. So in this video we looked at how we created the normal map using Quixel Suite. All of this pattern work, which would have taken us a long time if we tried to done it as a high poly. We've also covered how to create an AO and also how to use action scripts. So in the next video we're going to look at using Substance Painter to actually texture this prop. So I'll see you in the next video next week. So I'll see you in the next video.